Hello, my friends. It's time for the old wrestling podcast. I'm your host, CW. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to hit that bell on YouTube so you get notified when new episodes go live. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Love talking to you guys. Let's get into it. We are more Road to WrestleMania talk today. We're coming hot off the heels of a very, very good Monday Night Raw. Should we just start doing Raw recaps? I don't know. You guys let me know. The six-pack challenge for WrestleMania's tag team titles is coming into view. The Creed brothers took on DIY at the start of Raw, and what an incredible showing. The Creed brothers are quickly becoming like one of my favorite tag teams. Those guys they do things, man. They do things. Now, granted, they are doing them against a very relatively small team. DIY is not the biggest guys. I mean, relative to everybody else, I suppose. But pairing the Creed brothers up with DIY allows the crowd to see exactly the kind of things the Creed brothers can do. They manhandled DIY. They literally tossed them at each other. I don't think I've seen a tag team throw another tag team at each other in midair. Just like chuck them over their shoulders at each other. They bounced off one another and fell down. The eldest Creed brother was literally manhandling both people at the same time, picked up Johnny Gargano with one arm for a powerbomb. It was an incredible match. They got, I believe, 3 commercial breaks. It went on for about 25 minutes or so before DIY scored the pinfall and scored a trip to WrestleMania. The booking was great. I think the in-ring storytelling that Triple H is kind of maneuvering with these tag teams and these people makes a whole lot of sense. So the Creed brothers are obviously very good. They got a really good push when they moved up from NXT. They now have their own gear, which is great. They got rid of that weird blue diamond mine stuff. I like their gear now. It's very subdued. It fits their personality. They're high energy, but then the gear kind of is a juxtaposition to that. It's very, calm. It's very, it's not flashy. So their moves are super flashy, but their gear is very simple. I like it. That's me and my design brain right now. But the booking for the match was the Creed brothers are outstanding. DIY is incredible, but the Creed brothers definitely outmatched DIY. But DIY came out on top because they outlasted them. They outthunked them. They were like, they got the veteran win, right? They didn't throw them around. They didn't bury them. They looked for an opening. They saw it. They capitalized, and then they won. That was DIY's booking. Creed brothers went out there and said, be incredible. Be an incredible tag team. And they did that. And it was a fantastic match to kick off Raw. My only problem with the 6-man ladder match that they have going on, the little tournament they have scheduled for this, is all the booking is very transparent. So they had Alpha Academy, who was Otis and Tozawa, versus New Day. They had Creed brothers and DIY, which is one of the only matches I couldn't really call. I was like, I wonder who they're going to give that to. They had Pretty Deadly take on New Catch Republic on SmackDown, and then they had, who was the other one? Somebody help me. I don't know who I'm talking to. There was another SmackDown match that was Grayson Waller and Austin Theory versus, dang it, who was the other guys? I forgot the match. Anyway, my point is the most obvious teams won. Like Pretty Deadly lost and New Catch Republic won. New Catch Republic has been beating them for months now, so it wasn't like we thought Pretty Deadly was going to go over on them, especially after Pete Dunne got his name back and they got the whole shine and elimination chamber. They were definitely going to win. dang it, who was it? I can't remember the other tag team match that happened, but I know that I said they should have swapped opponents. Like New Catch Republic should have went with the losers of the other match, and Pretty Deadly should have gone with the winners of the other match, so that at least Pretty Deadly didn't take another loss to New Catch Republic. It was booked. It was almost like we want you guys to know who's going to WrestleMania before they get to WrestleMania. On Raw, New Day took on Alpha Academy, but in the past couple of months, Alpha Academy has become less the underdog dominating force and more a comedy act again, especially when they brought in Tozawa. Not any shade to Tozawa, but he hasn't been a serious wrestler since probably his time in another company. He came to WWE and they just book him straight garbage. And he's an obvious comedy act. And pairing him with Otis, who is, good, but also does comedic things, and then you pit them against the New Day. I'm like, well, of course the New Day is going to win. If Alpha Academy is these two and not Chad Gable, if Chad Gable's not involved, I don't believe they're going to win. Let's put it that way. They're going to get booked to lose, especially when you put the New Day in there. So that was a very clear win for me too. So I'm like, was the booking meant to give you an idea? It's like, okay, you kind of understand who's going to WrestleMania by who's facing who. And like I said, the only thing that threw me off a bit is the Creed brothers, because I was like, there was probably a discussion up until like the last minute of like, should the Creed brothers go over and go to WrestleMania? After watching that match with the Creed brothers, I legit wish they were going to Mania, because having them win the titles at Mania would be way too early for them, but also completely understandable because they earn it. They've earned it. I don't remember. I know they had a title shot with the Judgment Day and they lost. And I think that's the issue with the Judgment Day just all around. They've been pinning every tag team left and right, which is why I still think, here's me putting on my booking hat, guys. I still think the tag team title should not be defended on things like Raw or SmackDown and stuff. It should only be in pay-per-views, and there should be a pecking order, right? Because the more Judgment Day pins tag teams on Raw and SmackDown, the less likely it is that those tag teams are going to look strong against them at a pay-per-view. So, like, DIY already lost to Judgment Day. I don't remember if New Day has wrestled them yet. I'm sure they have. No, actually, I don't think they have. But they've beat pretty much every other established tag team, which of course was in a way to book them strong and to make them feel like a qualified champion, which always made me question why Cody and Jey Uso won the tag team titles from them. I didn't understand that booking. It was almost like they didn't want them to have any consecutive wins. They wanted to be like, hey, 2-time champs. I didn't understand that. But having them beat everybody, and now there's going to be this ladder match. It's almost like the ladder, they have to defeat the ladder now because they beat everybody else. Granted, they haven't beat the New Day yet, but I mean, New Day hasn't been champs in a while. They haven't really been in the tag team scene for a bit since Big E got hurt. So I don't know. The six-pack challenge is shaping up to be a strong match. It's a ladder match, so you know there's going to be a lot of crazy high spots. With DIY specifically, there's going to be a lot of jumping and flipping and hippity hopping. But man, I wish the Creed brothers were in there. I wish they didn't face DIY so they could have gotten a shot in. Like maybe if the Creed brothers took on Alpha Academy and went to the Mania match, it would have been great. I'm really high on those guys. They have incredible athleticism. They're very enthusiastic, and they're actually brothers. I love that whole dynamic. This was a whole tag team episode, and I don't hate it. Anyway, how do you guys feel about the upcoming ladder match at WrestleMania? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for listening. This has been the Wrestling Podcast, and don't you ever forget.
I'm your friend, but if I ever see you in the ring, I can beat you. Don't you know? Yeah, yeah, yeah.